Everything you've been told about growing a remodeling business is 10 years old. Go knock on doors, cold call homeowners, hand out business cards at the hardware store, ask every satisfied client for a referral, and hope they actually remember to send you one. That path does still work to some extent, but right now it's the slowest way to grow. And if you're still running your bids on a spreadsheet and spending 3 days on every estimate, you're already fighting with one hand tied behind your back. So over the next 10, 15 minutes or so, I'm going to walk you through the fastest path to a 6 or even 7-figure remodeling business. And the best part is that most of this has nothing to do with chasing down leads. A lot of it is about fixing how you run the back end of your business first. So let's break it down. All right, here's what we're going to start with. The first is mindset, not in a motivational poster, cheesy kind of way. I mean the specific thinking patterns that separate contractors who break through from the ones who end up burnt out. Second, we're going to talk about your pipeline, how you get jobs, even if you're just starting or just starting over. And third, we're going to talk about how you present yourself, because the way your bid lands in a homeowner's inbox either wins a job or it loses it before you even have that follow-up conversation. Fourth, we're going to build out your calendar. I'm going to show you what a week actually looks like for a contractor on a growth track, because without a structure, everything just turns into chaos. And fifth, we're going to talk about your systems, because you cannot scale a business that runs entirely in your head. These 5 things, that's it. We've worked with contractors at every level, from guys doing their first $100K a year, $500,000 a year, to established remodelers and builders pushing $3 million and trying to stop working weekends and having those long nights. And these 5 things that we just talked about right now show up every single time. I want to show you a pattern that we've seen over and over again. There are 2 types of contractors trying to grow their business. The first type comes out of the gate hard. They're motivated. They're posting on Facebook, following up on every lead, hustling on the weekends. And then around month 3 or 4, it flattens out. The motivation starts dropping. The follow-up stops. They tell themselves the market is slow, or homeowners are cheap, or nobody wants to pay for quality work anymore. By month 6, they're back to doing exactly what they were doing before. I call this the quitter track. And it's not because these guys aren't good contractors. A lot of them are excellent at the actual work. The problem is that they're trying to grow without a foundation. They're doing everything on feeling instead of structure. The second type starts slower. They're not doing everything at once. They pick a couple things and they get disciplined about them. They're not getting rich in a month or 2, but they're building something. And around month 5, 6, 7, something clicks. The referrals start coming in because their process is consistent. Their bids are going out faster. They're following up because they have a system. And month 8 through 12, they're closing more work that they can handle. That is the builder track. The difference between these 2 types of contractors is rarely about skill. And it's rarely about work ethic. It's almost always comes down to 3 things: discipline, delayed gratification, and consistency. So let me break down each of these for you. Discipline means following through on the commitments you make to yourself, even when you don't feel like it. Here's how this plays out in a remodeling business. You tell yourself you're going to follow up on every estimate within 48 hours. That's great. So that works for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Then you have a rough week on the job site, you get home tired, and you let 3 estimates sit without a follow-up. That's how it starts. And one of those homeowners signed with somebody else that very day. Discipline is doing the follow-up on that bad week. It's sending the estimate tonight instead of waiting until the weekend. Every time you say that you're going to do something, you do it when you say you would. Simple as that. Delayed gratification is harder to internalize, but it might matter more than you think. Most contractors I've talked to give a new system or strategy about 6 weeks before they decide it's not working. They try sending more professional proposals. They don't win the first 2 jobs, and so they go back to texting bids from their phone. The contractors who build real businesses extend that timeline. They commit to a year, not just a month. And here's why that matters. If you tell yourself that you're going to do something for a year and it doesn't work in the first 2 months, you still have 10 months to figure out what's off, to reevaluate, to reassess. But if you give it just 6 weeks, the first problem sends you back to square one. I know a contractor who switched to sending professional digital proposals for every job. Didn't matter if it was $4,000 bathroom or a $60,000 kitchen remodel. First 3 months, he didn't notice much of a change. By month 6, his close rate had gone from about 30% to over 50%. He told me it was because homeowners started taking him more seriously before he ever said a word at the site visit. The proposal had already essentially done the selling for him. If he'd quit after 6 weeks, he would have never seen that. Consistency is the third piece, and it ties the other two together. The contractors winning right now are not necessarily the best craftsmen on the market. Some of them are, but most of them are just consistent. They follow up consistently. They send bids the same day or next day consistently. They check in with past clients consistently. They post on their Facebook business page, on their Google business profile, once a week at least, consistently. Mediocre effort done every day beats excellent effort done once in a while. All right, let's talk about how you actually fill your calendar with work. Your warmest leads are already right in your phone. Past clients, neighbors, former coworkers, guys you've done sub work for, the family friend who asked what you're up to at a barbecue 2 years ago. These people already have a reason to trust you. They already know that you show up and that you do good work, and they will send you business, but only if you stay top of their mind. Most contractors are invisible to their own network between jobs. The only time someone hears from them is when they're actively looking for work, and that's kind of backwards. The contractor who wins a referral is almost always the one the homeowner happened to think of that week, which means you have to give people reasons to think about you. So what does that actually look like in practice? Text your past clients twice a year, not to sell anything, just to check in. Hey, hope everything's holding up well. Let me know if you ever need anything. That's it. Takes 30 seconds. And when their neighbor mentions they need a bathroom done, your name is going to pop up in their head. Post on your business Facebook page or Instagram at least once a week. A job photo, before and after, a quick video walking through what you're working on. See your team in action. Guys, you don't need to be a dancing content creator. You just need to show what you're already working on and that your work looks pretty damn good. Ask for reviews right when the job wraps up, not a week later when the moment has passed, right when the homeowner is standing in their brand new kitchen telling you how much they love it. That's the moment right there. Pull out your phone and send them that Google review link and ask them to leave one while it's still fresh in their mind and they're loving you. These are not complicated things, right? We don't need to overcomplicate things. But most contractors, the problem is they just don't do this consistently. And that's why they're always looking for the next lead instead of getting called. Here's something most contractors don't fully accept. The homeowner has usually decided whether they want to work with you before you even bring up price. They're judging your professionalism from the first touch point, how fast you responded to their inquiry, whether your truck was clean when you pulled up, how organized your site visit felt, how much in control you were, and whether the proposal they received after looked like a professional proposal, or something cobbled together in a spreadsheet at midnight. I've talked to homeowners who picked a contractor who was a few $1,000s higher than the competition. When I ask why, the answer is almost some version of this. They just seem more put together, like they've done this before, and I just trusted them because of it. That's a proposal doing its job. A professional proposal doesn't just list materials and labor. It shows a homeowner that you understand the scope of their project. It gives them a clear breakdown so that they're not guessing what they're paying for. It makes them feel confident that you can manage the job. And this also helps, it makes that follow up easier because you can reference a real document instead of some random number that you texted them. This is exactly why tools like Handoff exist. Handoff is built specifically for residential GCs. It lets you generate a detailed professional estimate fast, straight from your site and visit notes. You're not rebuilding a spreadsheet from scratch every single time. You're not copying line items from the last job and hoping the pricing is still right. You put in the scope and Handoff does the heavy lifting, so you can send a professional proposal the same day you walk the job. That speed matters a lot. Most homeowners are getting multiple bids, right? The first contractor to send a professional proposal has a real advantage. The one who takes 4 days to send a spreadsheet or a texted number is already way behind, and the homeowner has often already started forming a preference. So let's talk about what a real growth calendar looks like for a successful remodeling contractor. You got 3 categories of work, right? Doing jobs, getting jobs, and running the business. Most contractors spend almost all their time doing jobs, a little bit of time getting jobs, and almost no time running the business. And then they wonder why things feel so chaotic and stressful. Here's a simple structure that works. Monday through Friday, you're on the job site. That's your production. But every morning before you're on the road, you're spending 30 minutes on business development. That means sending follow-up on open bids, responding to any leads that came in, checking in with the past client, 30 minutes every morning consistently. And then one afternoon per week. Wednesday works well for a lot of contractors because it's midweek and you can kind of evaluate where your current jobs are sitting. You block out 2 or 3 hours for estimates. So you batch your estimates instead of doing them whenever you get home or you feel like it or a weekend. You have a process, you run it, and you get the proposals out. Friday afternoons, you do some admin, invoicing, supplier calls, any paperwork. You clean it up before the weekend so it doesn't follow you home and pile up. Saturday morning, 1 or 2 site visits for new potential jobs. You're not working the full day, you're doing sales. That's it. That's the structure. Everything else is job site. So what I've seen this do for contractors is take a business that felt completely reactive, always chasing the next thing, never quite caught up, and turning it into something predictable. So you know the estimates are going out. You know when follow-ups are happening. You know when you are reviewing your numbers. The other thing the structure does is it forces you to protect your estimate time. Because if you don't block it, it doesn't happen. So you get home at 6, you're tired, the estimate is just sitting there, and you tell yourself that you're going to do it first thing in the morning. And then it's been 4 days and the homeowner signed with somebody else. This happens every single day. So with a tool like Handoff, that Wednesday afternoon estimate block becomes a lot more manageable. You're not staring at a blank spreadsheet for 3 hours. You're working through the scope. Handoff is generating the line items and you're just reviewing and sending. So what used to take you a full evening can now take you less than an hour. And that hour on Wednesday is already blocked. So you do the work, the proposal goes out. I want to give you a number to think about. The average homeowner who is getting multiple bids for a remodeling project will typically make a strong preference within 48 to 72 hours of receiving the first professional proposal. Not the best proposal, the first professional one. That means if you're taking 3 to 5 days to get an estimate out, you're almost never the first one in. And if your number is competitive and your work is excellent, you're fighting an uphill battle because the homeowner has already started leaning toward whoever got there first. Speed is a competitive advantage that most contractors are giving away for free. The contractors we've seen close the most work aren't always the ones with the lowest price or the most experienced years in business. A lot of them are the ones who get the proposal out the same day or next day every time. The homeowner calls, they do the site visit that week, the proposal hits the inbox before the homeowner has had time to do a second round of outreach. Done. This is why the back end of your business matters as much as the front end. You can be the best remodeler in your market, but if it takes you a week to send a bid, somebody else is going to get that call. Handoff was built around this problem. It's a platform designed specifically for residential GCs who are losing jobs not because their price is wrong, but because their process is just too slow. You walk a job, you put the scope in, and you get a professional proposal out the same day, and that's the goal. Now, here's the thing about growing a remodeling business past a certain point. You can't do it with everything in your head. You're the bottleneck there. Most contractors start out with a system that works fine when it's just them. They know every job. They remember every price. They know when every invoice is due. And then, of course, to scale, they bring in a second person or they take on a third job at the same time. And suddenly they're dropping the ball. They're dropping things. Follow-up doesn't happen. A material order gets missed. Invoice goes out 2 weeks late. And this is not a capacity problem. Remember, it's a systems problem. And the solution is obviously not to work harder, is to build a business so it doesn't depend entirely on you remembering everything. So what does this actually look like? What does it mean? It means your pricing lives somewhere consistent, so you're not guessing at line items every time you build a new estimate. It means your client communication follows a specific pattern. Inquiry comes in, you respond within 24 hours, site visit is scheduled, proposal goes out within 48 hours. Follow-up happens on day 3 if you haven't heard back. It means when a client asks you a question about their project, you can pull it up quickly because everything about that job is in one place, not in your phone, not email, one place. The scope, the proposal, the notes, the photos. This is infrastructure, and most operations don't build it because they're forced by a painful mistake, right? A job that went sideways because something fell through the cracks. A client who felt ignored because nobody followed up. A price that got estimated wrong because the line items were copied from an old job. Building the infrastructure before you need it is what separates the contractors who scale from the ones who hit a ceiling and then stay there. The last thing I want to talk about is something most business advice skips over: who you're around. If you're spending time in contractor Facebook groups or online forums full of people who are constantly complaining about the market or telling you that homeowners are cheap or that AI tools are a gimmick and a waste of time and nothing replaces real experience, that environment is going to cost you without you even realizing. I'm not saying that those people are wrong about everything. The market is tough sometimes. Homeowners obviously can be difficult. Experience matters enormously, but the mindset that says things can't get better or easier is a mindset that keeps contractors stuck. The contractors I've seen grow fast are almost always connected to other contractors who are growing or other business owners. They share what's working. They're honest about what isn't. They try new things without treating it as some threat to the identity as a tradesman. If you're in an environment where the consensus is that business has to be hard and complicated and slow, and you're going to believe that, and you're going to make decisions that confirm it. It's kind of like an identity. Find the contractors who are moving forward, that are not rejecting new AI or new workflows or new way of doing things. Ask what they're doing differently. What's working, what's not working. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to be willing to rotate with it. I know this has been a lot of information, a lot of talking at you. You're probably ready for me to wrap this up. So I'm going to give you one clear starting point. This week, do 3 things. First, text 5 past clients just to check in. Don't try to sell them on anything. Just checking in, see what comes back. Second, look at your last 3 bids you sent out. How long did they take you from site visit to delivery? What did they look like when the homeowner opened them? If the answer is a few days in a spreadsheet, that's the first thing you need to fix. Third, go check out Handoff. See what it actually looks like to build a professional estimate in a platform in a few minutes. You don't have to commit to anything. Just see what's possible when your estimating process is built for speed. That's it. 3 things. Don't complicate it, not overwhelming. You don't need to overhaul your whole business this week. You just need to start moving in the right direction. The contractors who build the businesses they want are not the ones with the most talent. Remember that. They're the ones who are setting up the structure. Then they're sticking to it. And then they make small improvements every single week. Over 12 months, that compounds into something really great and real. You already know how to do the work. Now it's just about building the business around it. Thanks for watching. Link to check out and try Handoff for free is in the description, or go to handoff.ai. We'll see you for the next video. Biggest thing holding most contractors back, of course, it's not their craftsmanship. It's really the business side. The reality is that nobody